Okay, so we're dealing with 2016 question number 1, okay? And this looks like a really long question, and there's a couple of key concepts in here that you're just going to need to know, that you should know like the back of your hand as you're starting to answer these FRQs and preparing for the exam. So let's get into it. It talks about a market for bananas, muffins, and coffees are all interrelated, and each market is perfectly competitive. Okay, and they take the question, they break it down into 3 parts, basically one for bananas and a part for bananas being an input for muffins, and then a part where muffins and coffees are somehow related to each other. So as you should always do with FRQs, is read through the entire FRQ and then jump into the section. So we're going to go section by section here. We're going to look at section A first. So 1A says, in the market for bananas, the equilibrium price is $1 per pound and the equilibrium quantity is 1,000 pounds per week. Suppose the government imposes a price floor on bananas at $1.20 per pound, causing the quantity supplied to increase to 1,500 pounds per week. Now, it doesn't say draw it out, but you should definitely draw this out on some scrap paper or within your answer. And so as you begin to draw this out, I should put A1 here for number 1. A1. I'm just going to draw out what the market would look like here, okay? And like I said, it's not asking you to draw this out, but it'd be a good idea to do this, all right? And we're talking about the market for bananas, so this would be the bananas market, right? And we would have, what they said here is that equilibrium price of $1, okay, so it's $1, and then the equilibrium quantity would be 1,000 bananas. It said, now it says, assume that the government, suppose the government puts in here a $1.20 per pound price floor here, and causing the quantity supplied to increase to 1,500 pounds per week. So price floor ends up going above the equilibrium to be effective, and it's $1.20, okay? And let's say this is the price floor right here, okay? And the amount of bananas supplied jumps up to 1,500, okay? On the flip side of that, you're going to see that because the price went up, demand is going to drop, and you're going to have this quantity that's going to be demanded that's not going to be as much as 1,000 that was before, right? So you see we have this gap right here, and that gap is called a surplus, right? Okay, so in doing all of this and just sketching this all out, you're going to get a good idea of what the answers would be to the possible questions that are going to be coming up. So let's look at those questions now, right? Would the price floor result in a shortage, a surplus, or neither? Well, for one, we're going to say a surplus. Suppliers are going to want to supply a lot of it because the price is going to be more, they think, but people aren't going to demand as much, so we're going to end up with this surplus taking place. It says calculate the price elasticity of supply if the price increases from $1 to $1.20. Show your work. So, all right, what this is going to involve is price elasticity of supply. So the percentage change in quantity, all right, over the percentage change in price. So in this particular case here, the percentage change in quantity, we went from 1,000 up to 1,500, so it's about a 50% change in quantity, and the percentage change in price went from $1 to $1.20, so that's about a 20% change in price right there. So knowing that formula is going to help you figure this out. So it'd be 0.5 over 0.2, and I'm no mathematician, but I know that's going to be a number that is greater than 1. Okay, and if it's greater than 1, all right, right here, that's about actually is going to equal 2.5, I believe, right? Yeah, 2.5. And so if it's greater than 1 here, we're going to say that supply is elastic, right? Has an elastic supply. So when we look at this, it says calculate the price elasticity of supply. If the price is there, show your work. So That's my work. And then it asks between $1 and $1.20, is supply elastic, unielastic, or inelastic? And explain. Well, the price is elastic because the percent change in quantity is greater than the percent change, all right, so I'm sorry, the percent change in price. All right. For B, they're talking about bananas being an input for muffins. It says, draw a correctly labeled graph of the market for muffins indicating the equilibrium price and quantity labeled P0 and Q0 respectively. So we're looking to draw the market for muffins here. All right, let's go. B. Quantity, price. Here's the demand. Here's the supply. Oh, sorry about that. And price. All right. So on the graph in part B1, so don't draw a new graph. Put your answer on this one. Show the impact of an increase in the price of bananas on the muffin market, labeling the new equilibrium price and quantity as P1 and Q1 respectively. So bananas are an input for muffins. So all of a sudden we're seeing that there is an increase in the supply of bananas for my muffins. Well, at that point, I'm going to recognize this in the marketplace as an input to my product, which is muffins. I'm going to see a decrease in the supply. So we'll see this shift in the supply curve. Make sure you put that arrow in there, and you're going to see this new quantity, and they wanted it labeled P1. Okay, and so there it is. 3 says, on the same graph, completely shade the area that represents the change in consumer surplus caused by the increase in the price of bananas. Well, I'm just going to draw it out real quick. Previously, consumer surplus, all right, was all of this right here. Okay, now what we're seeing is with this shift and a new price equilibrium, a quantity equilibrium here, this is the new consumer surplus area. They want us to shade in the change in consumer surplus. So that would be this area right here. All right, all the way into that corner. Okay, boom, right there. Okay, and that's B3. Okay, C says, in the market for coffee, the equilibrium price is $3 per cup and the equilibrium quantity is 100 cups per week. The cross price elasticity of coffee with respect to muffins is -2. Okay, cross price elasticity. You're going to need to know this. So let's just talk about this a little bit. Cross price elasticity. I know that if it's cross price elasticity, if it's a negative number, that means that the two products are complements. All right. If it's a positive number that comes out from doing the cross price elasticity, that means those two items are substitutes. All right. And so what's the formula here? So the formula is this. Again, we're taking the quantity over price. So let's break this out a little bit more. Quantity over price. What are we looking at? Well, we're looking at the percentage change in the price for product A, all right, under the percentage change in quantity, all right, for product B. Look at the questions here that we have, and it says, are coffee and muffins normal goods, inferior goods, complementary goods, or substitute goods? Well, they're complementary goods, right? Not only do we know this because it's a -2 in the question here, but coffees and muffins, all right, they go together hand in hand, right? keep that in mind as we go through this question. It says, assume the supply of coffee is perfectly elastic. All right, we're getting a little funky right now, all right? Perfectly elastic. Using the equilibrium price and quantity given above, draw a correctly labeled graph for the coffee market and show the impact of an increase in the price of muffins on the coffee market. All right, let's take a look at this. We have price, we have the quantity, it's the supply is perfectly elastic. So we have a price of $3, okay? This is the supply for, that means I can sell 10 cups at $3 or 10,000 cups at $3 right here, okay? And it says, show the impact of an increase in the price of muffins on the coffee market. Keep this in mind. Here's my demand curve, and we're talking about the coffee market right here. It's telling me that we see an increase in the price of muffins. Now, let's take an extreme case right here. Coffee's $3, muffins usually $2. All right, you go in, drop a $5 bill, you're picking up a coffee and a muffin. All of a sudden, you go in one day, coffee's $3, and the muffin's $200. Whoa, time out. I'm not going to go get my coffee and muffin today. I'm going to sit back, skip the muffin and the coffee today. What just happened to the demand for coffee, right? There was a shift in the demand for coffee there, all right? So keep that in mind, that you need to show, that's what they're asking you, you need to show what's happening right here, okay? So in this particular case right here, it's asking us, show the impact of an increase in the price of muffins on coffee. Keep in mind that the equilibrium quantity of coffee was 100, all right? Probably should have put that down in the beginning, but you get what I'm saying here. The shift ends up shifting that, the price of muffins skyrocketed, so the demand for coffee decreased, okay? And that's what we have there for C2. C3 gets a little tricky. You got to do a little reverse engineering here. So it says, given the original quantity of 100 cups of coffee per week, that's here, right here, this amount, okay? It says, if the increase in the price of muffins is 10%, 10% right here, okay? Calculate the new equilibrium quantity in the coffee market. Show your work. So I'm going to just show you, this is how, well, as soon as I saw this is how I figured it out. I said, okay, well, I know the formula is right here, cross price elasticity. I know the two items are complements for each other, so I'm going to break it down right here in this box right here, kind of like a box, crooked box, terrible box actually. So the price of muffins, right, increased by 10%, all right? So this would be positive down here, 10%. So I need to see, and they're asking me, what's the new equilibrium quantity? So what they're looking for is this amount right here. They want to know what that quantity is that it just went to. Well, I know that it's a -2, right? It's telling me it's a -2 in the question. So when I'm looking at this, trying to backwards engineer this, what I need to do is figure out what X is at this point, all right? Since I know whatever that number is, over 10, positive, over 10, when we figured it out, it's going to be a -2. So I need to put something above there that's going to equal 2. So what above 10 equals 2? 20, right? 20 above 10 equals 2. So let's get rid of this X right here. All right. 20%, right, equals negative. And that's a negative change because the quantity went down. It went from 100 to 20% change, right? That's what we're trying to figure out. So what's a 20% change, negative change in 100? Well, I know it's negative because that's negative. Negative change in 100? 80, all right? So the quantity that they're asking us to find is 80. Now, what I would say is that you want to make sure that you know this formula, cross price elasticity, all right, and figuring out when these questions like this end up coming up. Very important to kind of put these two together so you can answer these easily and show them that you actually had the work, that you were solving for X here on this one. All right, good luck. Thanks.